name is Dr. Ekta Sharma. I'm a postdoctoral research fellow for women in STEM within the School of Maths, Physics and Computing at the University of Southern Queensland. Additionally, I'm a recipient of the National Intelligence Postdoctoral Grant awarded in round 2, which commenced in 2022 and concluded in 2024. Before starting the presentation, I would like to acknowledge Dr. Joyce Das and Dr. Morgan Newman, who encouraged me to create this presentation. To share my personal experience. To provide a brief overview of my academic background, I completed my bachelor's degree in mathematical sciences and then I earned a master's degree in operations research from the University of Delhi, India. I have always balanced my studies with practical work experience. Following this, I moved to Switzerland and worked at the Zurich University of Applied Sciences for a couple of years before relocating to Australia. Section of career break and difficulties. I took a career break to provide full-time care for my mother during her illness and then to raise my young family. It stretched to 7 years, and I could only enroll in a PhD program focused on artificial intelligence in 2018, which I submitted my thesis in 2022. Re-entering the workforce, particularly in the rapidly evolving field of AI, has various challenges, especially when you have young children to take care of. While I acknowledge that they were good days, I also acknowledge there were many not so good days. But I knew one thing, that I would not lose my focus. And if I am doing it, I will do it right and will give it my all. So, throughout my PhD, I engaged in various short-term collaborative projects with other universities. I also interned with Defence Science and Technology Group, DSTG, through the Australian Postgraduate Research Intern Program, which we know as APR Intern Program. That enriched my understanding of the practical applications of my work. So my PhD involved publications, allowing me to gain valuable insights into the key areas of relevance within my field. And I successfully published many peer-reviewed scientific articles. And I believe this hands-on experience of research and industry work positioned me to develop a decent H index and citation score of more than 350, which served as a reliable indicator of my scholarly achievement. My PhD in publication culminated in receiving the Vice Chancellor's Excellence Award and also a commendation from the Deputy High Commissioner of the Australian High Commission to India in 2022. So that recognized my research on early warning systems for bushfires. So talking about my experience with the NIC research program, fortunately, it has been highly positive and productive. I had the privilege of working with a dedicated mentor from the Office of National Intelligence, and we maintained regular communication via email, considering my location is in Queensland. So when it was necessary, a team visited my university, allowing me to present my work. And additionally, I attended the annual symposium in Canberra, where I had the opportunity to connect with like-minded individuals and gain insights into various ongoing projects. And talking about a highlight of my experience, that should have been visiting the Tech Week in Washington, D.C., which facilitated systematic engagement with the research and science and tech communities in both the countries. And it's a good learning journey, and I undertook competitive yet unclassified research aligned with NIC priorities, and it was both challenging and rewarding for me. And in my opinion, I believe the support provided by NIC has enhanced my understanding of the emerging science and tech while addressing the needs and interests of the community. And in a way, it creates a mutually beneficial relationship for both the researchers as well as the government. So Here, I would like to emphasize a significant flexibility which was offered by the ONI mentors. And I believe this is very important because AI is an evolving field and it allowed me to explore innovative approaches to address issues of, say, cyber attacks. Yes, that was based upon the approval of my university's security program. So this flexibility motivated me to produce high quality work. And the funding I received facilitated travel, of course, and it provided me the opportunity to present my research at important peer-reviewed conferences. And this is very crucial for early career researchers like myself. And at the end of 2 years, I think I've concluded that provided the right amount of support, a researcher's productivity and impact are majorly determined by their own initiatives and efforts. Institutional and systemic barriers as an EMCR. So, for the term early career can vary depending upon individual or grant agency discussion. So, for some, early career is considered to be within 5 years of being awarded a PhD, while under the NIPG system, it may extend up to 10 years post PhD. So, it's important to determine where you fall within this range and understand the associated expectations. So, whether you are an early career researcher, ECR, or a mid career researcher, each stage of one's career has their own challenges. And as an ECR, some of the challenges I can think of are access to resources, recognition of your work, and perhaps more than recognition, visibility of your work and career progression. So, some strategies to address these challenges can be uh, we have to understand the barriers first of all. We have to network and we have to collaborate with other people because access to established researchers and collaborations can be very challenging, specifically if you are early stages of your career. This can be often due to limited exposure, conference attendance budgets, or perhaps lack of visibility within the established networks. For me, there was a major barrier of funding limitations because securing grants can be highly competitive. And for new researchers and many funding agencies, they prioritize your track record and outputs, which can be disadvantage to the ECRs. uh, Taking mentorship and building networks. Connecting with senior mentors and advisors who can provide right advice, insights, or guidance. That's very hard for an ECR. So, a mentor familiar with navigating similar obstacles can provide crucial support to you and they can discuss the strategies they have adopted. So, for me, leveraging professional associations through mediums like LinkedIn and conferences, it has proven immensely useful to connect with peers and other researchers, other ECRs or MCRs. So, establishing network of like-minded researchers, this can help create opportunities for you for collaboration, for knowledge sharing, and mutual support in the end. So, uh, if I talk about my experience, I regularly attend workshops where I can present my work. And having said that, I also make a point if my colleague is presenting, I'm there to cheer them up, or if I can't attend due to time constraints, I can at least review their work or maybe do a mock session with them to better prepare them. So, in the end, it's about an ECR supporting another ECR in similar positions, right? So, other barriers I can think of is we need to diversify our funding and project portfolio. So instead of only focusing on the bigger grants and opportunities, we need to seek out smaller grants and other collaborative opportunities because they can help demonstrate your productivity and your impact and your ability to manage the funded projects. But in the end, We need to prioritize our well-being and avoid burnout with limited resources and high expectations, because these are intense pressures and we need to set clear boundaries, prioritize self-care, and seek support if we feel overwhelmed. So, talking about strategies for advocating for DEI or diversity, equity, and inclusion within your institution. So, I work in a university, and fostering an effective DEI on the agenda is very important to, promote change and perhaps foster a more inclusive environment. So, we have mandatory annual workshops and training sessions for staff as well as students. So sometimes there are guest lectures and sometimes there are events that celebrate diversity. So all of these create a platform for sharing your diverse perspectives. And in my lectures, I've started using inclusive language, and I've diversified my case studies and examples to create respect for varied learning styles and the learning environment. So I feel I've experienced that when students feel represented, it broadens their understanding of different cultures and histories. And I'm also seeing diversity in recruitment and hiring, which emphasizes hiring faculty and staff from underrepresented backgrounds. And this is a very important initiative. So having annual reports highlighting the achievements of the groups can also be very beneficial. Lastly, creating feedback and proper channels, such as setting up an anonymous feedback system to report incidences of, say, discrimination or exclusion can suggest improvements. So, talking about overcoming imposter syndrome and building confidence. So, imposter syndrome is often when we as women doubt our capabilities and perhaps, but as a woman, I don't like telling other women that they have imposter syndrome. I believe it's not women specific, and it's a myth that that men do not suffer from it. But perhaps the difference may be that they find it more difficult to talk about it, and maybe somebody's experience may be different to mine, and I totally respect that. But this 50-year-old concept of imposter syndrome, it encourages a common sense of discomfort and anxiety in the workplace. So the solution isn't to fix individuals or women or men, but to foster an inclusive environment that values diverse leadership styles and recognizes the professionalism of various racial or gender identities. So, having worked in Asia, Europe, and now in Australia, I've learned how to address it in ways that resonate with my experiences. So, we need to acknowledge the societal pressures. We understand that external factors like gender biases and stereotypes can contribute to the feeling of self doubt. We recognize that some of the pressures can come from issues that help us to avoid internalizing them. We need to also notice patterns in self doubt and pay attention to when we feel like an imposter. For example, are we doubting ourselves in a male dominated environment or when we are taking on the leadership roles? So, identifying that syndrome and separating self doubt from reality is very important. For some, affirmations work to build confidence. I remind yourself that I belong in this position because I have skills and I have done. I'm a hardworking person. So I've seen that we as women many times we self-sabotage ourselves, and that we should not apply for a promotion or we should not apply for a grant. So talking positive about yourself really helps, but be realistic about it. If you don't have a skill, get it and then apply a grant or any specific thing. But don't self sabotage yourself. Practice meditation if it helps you. Practice positive affirmations that, like, for example, I've worked very hard to be here and I should apply for CXYZ funding. So, believing in yourself can be empowering. And lastly, connect with other women who can offer insights, support, and strategies. I've co-authored 7 nonprofit books which amplify female voices, and we donate profits to social causes for women and children who belong to disadvantaged communities. So these books are launched on International Women's Day on major global platforms, and they're my way of helping and connecting with women across borders. Talking about this specialized topic, I believe it's important to recognize that tailoring your proposal can often feel overwhelming, especially if you are early in your career. This can lead to confusion regarding what is important for Nick to include versus what you believe should be included. So, as outlined by NIPG, it's crucial to identify a strategic challenge when the EOI opens that resonates closely with your work and interests. So, we need to clearly define the proposal, discuss how your skills and vision will be helpful, especially in the light of its relevance to the NIC community. So, additionally, provide your interpretation of how your research aligns with the NIPG's priorities. So, consider examining the 10 agencies involved and determining what aspects of your research may be broadly applicable across them. So, when writing your proposal, avoid technical jargon, but also it's essential to specify so as not to confuse the reader. Explain your research importance using straightforward language that is easy to understand. And next, develop your methodology. And the grant application format is typically restrictive. So it's essential to make every word count. Be as precise as possible about what you intend to achieve and the methods you wish to employ. So we all need to understand that review committees have limited time to read applications. So it's vital to present a compelling case that highlights the value of your clearly state why you are the best candidate for this project. And remember, although you may be the sole principal investigator, you should leverage the support of your advisors throughout this process. Use their expertise, use their guidance to enhance your proposal. And don't hesitate to advocate for yourself. Okay, so your research advisors are instrumental in guiding you through this process. Highlight their contributions, whether through their expertise or support in your academic development. And then tailor your proposal to reflect your unique perspective and specify objectives of the funding program, as this will improve your standing in the review process. The application process can be extensive, but it's worthwhile to apply. Please keep in mind that success is always appreciated, but if your application is not successful, it does not reflect your abilities. That simply indicates that your proposal may require additional refinement, and I encourage you to consider resubmitting next year. I wish you all the best in your applications, and I look forward to addressing any questions you may have during the Q&A panel in November. Thank you so much.